Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl Shar. Y'all know what time it is. Hit that like button, turn your notification on, and subscribe to the channel. Because I promise you, you won't be disappointed. Y'all make it do what it do. And remember to speak when you walk on in the chat, because ain't nobody sleep with you last night. If you haven't had a chance to follow me on all platforms at Shar's Reality number 6, please do. If you haven't had a chance to follow me on all platforms on my backup page at Shar's Reality Family, please do. Listen, checkmates, this is not a chat for children, so if you're a child, I'm sorry, you have to exit stage left. And also, hello to all my newcomers, flip-floppers and day ones. What's up? And la-di-da-di to everybody. All right, let's jump into it. I think I cry you all a river. All right, y'all get it. Y'all get it. I am so happy to be able to experience another week, and I just want to share that with you guys. Although, you know, life be lifing, but life is life all by itself, and there's nothing that we as the people can do to change life from happening. So because we cannot change life from happening, why not embrace the good, the bad, the ugly, the in-between, and the unsure, right? Let's do that, okay? So that's where I stand this morning, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. But enough of me. Let's talk about Kenya Moore, honey. Kenya Moore is out here giving everybody her tail to kiss. Now, I say Kenya Moore should tread lightly. She's running a Nene Leakes train, okay? I think you should probably, because while you have Kenya Moore hasn't been canceled from Real Housewives of Atlanta, okay? She's just been suspended, which means that she has an opportunity to return at some point whenever that is discussed further, right? However, I have a lot of emotions about this whole last episode because I feel like this could have been handled so much better. And I also feel like I'm emotional about the fact that she purposely sabotaged her moment to be the head, be in charge, okay? You don't have Kenya there. You didn't have Candy there this season. You didn't have Marlo there this season. This was your opportunity to just flourish, right? And you allow one moment of disappointment and unsatisfaction to change that for you or ruin that moment for you because you just wanted to let everybody know I'm Kenya Moore hair care. Girl, we don't give a dang. And I am so saddened that you took that moment and ruined it like that. You cannot continue to point your fingers at everybody on the platform because Britt played her cards right. You're the one that played the cards wrong, okay? And I say that again. Britt handled her deck. But see, you shuffled wrong, okay? And I don't know who told you to play the card game like this and think that you were going to be able to win, but you're not, okay? Now, I just want to say, not that it's a color thing. I can point out I can roll with the fact that Britt came back. You know, one can argue, why was Britt allowed to be given an opportunity to apologize after she mentioned pistols and whips and all types of stuff like that? But Kenya wasn't given an opportunity to apologize for showing Revenge P as the world is viewing it to be, okay? We have yet seen those pictures that was leaked, so I can't tell you if they was or they wasn't. But this is what the world is labeling it to be, is that these pictures were considered and has been considered Revenge P, right? So why wasn't she given that opportunity? You know, we can base it off a ton of things. You went too far, okay? You took the wrong opportunity to do what you did, right? One can say, because Britt is light and Kenya is dark. You know, one can even say because they tired of Kenya and all her shenanigans and Kenya been getting away with stuff for years. You know, like, one can argue a whole lot, okay? But at the end of the day, you never know what your consequences is going to be for bad behavior. So therefore, there's some stuff that you just don't do and say, okay? And there's some stuff that you just don't play around with. And one being certainty. I heard Kenya even say, you taking food out my kid's mouth, out of my child's mouth. Girl, I said, shut the hell up. You took the food out of your child's mouth when you decided to ruin your whole entire event to blast her. You could have picked another day. You could have picked another time. You could have picked another hour. hour, another second, another minute, okay? But you chose that particular time that was fully about you to go and expose somebody else. Girl, we learned who the head bee was in charge that day. When you had castmates walking out like, come on, Kenya, why are we doing this? When you had production post, because of the behavior, you have been eliminated. Like, it was a lot of stuff going on. This was not the time and place. You could have even exposed her without exposing her. Does that make sense? You ever heard was, knock, knock, who's there? Well, it's Kenya. Hey, Britt, what can I do for you? I heard some things about, you could have used the oldest trick in the book, but you chose to actually pull her up on a big screen? Is you crazy? So hell with all of this. If it was me, if it was this person and pulling up old clips from everybody else, well, it was not those people, okay? It was you in this moment, and we're going to deal with you accordingly, okay? And you were the one that got handled, okay? Now, would they come back after people stand up for Kenya and probably say, hey, Britt should be suspended too? Maybe, maybe not, okay? Do I think listen, they both were posed as a threat. I don't care how you slice it. I don't care how you dice it. They both are posed as a threat because Britt is threatening her physically, and then you have Kenya threatening Britt in a way that's threatening her livelihood. Because here's the thing, from them pictures being exposed, that can ruin her for future endeavors. Okay, so they both pose as a threat, okay? So let's not act like they don't, because they are. But at the end of the day, Andy and his co-host get on his Andy Cohen live, and they start talking about the sequence in its entirety and what transpired and how we got to where we are today, which led to Kenya Moore being suspended, okay? Kenya, with her brave self, honey, she clapped back. And let me be honest and say that in this moment, Kenya needs to take a step back before she do or say some things that she's not going to be able to come back from. Okay? I always say that I know for sure that Nene wish and thinks about it daily of the things that she probably shouldn't have said or how far she shouldn't have went, right? So Kenya needs to take a step back. One of her friends need to pop her on the hand and say, sis, you are way out there, okay? Now I'm gonna need you to dive back in, okay? I'm gonna need you to roll this thing back in because you're too far gone at this point. Okay, like I need them to be honest with her. I need some people in her corner that's going to tell her you are too far gone, okay? Now, with all of that, Kenya responds. So we're gonna listen to the audio of Andy and the co-host, right? And we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to go over what Kenya's response is to that audio, okay? And again, I'm not saying don't defend yourself. I'm just saying be clever in your delivery, okay? Because if you don't want to be blackballed, okay? If you don't want to be canceled out here, you still have a lot of life left in you, okay? And I want to see you do great. Not saying that Real Housewives of Atlanta is the end all be all. That's not what I'm saying. But you don't want a stopping point for yourself. If Real Housewife of Atlanta isn't where you're going in this season and you're done with it and you're like, I want to do other things, fine. But one of the things people are going to do when they want to use you is pull your resume. Is this something that you wanted on your resume? Okay? These are things that you have to ask yourself when you're just trying to get your lick back. Or are you like, I'm going to get this trick. And to hear you say that the B gotta go, right? To hear you say this B gotta go, it implied that you've been plotting because you felt like she has posed as a threat to your position you held as one of the OGs on Real Housewives of Atlanta, okay? Careful what you say while those mics are on. Some things are better thought of versus being said. And you have to learn that. And you're learning the hard way now. But let's listen to this audio and then I'll come back and read Kenya's response. Let's go.
A comment at the end of last week's episode, like, I have a gun and a whip or something like that.
I saw that.
And on this week's episode, they all said to Britt that you can't say that shit. And she was like, yeah, you're right, whatever. She shows up to Kenya's opening of her gorgeous salon, which is beautiful, that Kenya has worked so hard on, that she dedicated to her daughter. And it's this big event, opening it with all these people there. And Britt comes in and brings her flowers and says, I want to apologize to you, and a note. And Kenya totally ignores her, like totally. And Britt's like, okay, I'm just going to leave these here. And Britt leaves. And then Kenya gets up and makes her whole opening about someone came after me and they shouldn't have, and I started looking into who this woman is, and this is who she is, and she starts showing pictures of her. Or like poster board that she printed. And this is like one of the pictures is revenge porn type. Yes. Okay. One of the pictures is her like oral sexing. Yeah. And the Atlanta Housewives are like, we're out, the place like clears out. Yeah. And then there's and Cynthia said, in all my time at the show, this is the lowest I've ever seen anything get. And so that's what, and then there's a slide at the end of the show that says, Bravo, stop filming with Kenya after this. Well, they say like, there's all this talk of after the Me Too movement. It's like if you show someone a dick pic or a nude pic without them saying, yes, I would like to see that right now, that's like sexual assault. Yes, Jordan? Well, I was going to say, the bad part of it and the sad part of it was that, like you said, it was Kenya's opening of her store that she's worked so hard for, and that it's been Kenya Moore hair care for years. Yes. And it was like a big moment for her. And like she should have been celebrating herself, but instead she used the time to like do revenge porn and bring somebody else down. And at the end of the day, it was such a bad look for Kenya. Yeah, why would she sabotaged herself and her business. Yeah. What was she thinking? Jody from Minneapolis, what did you think? Yeah, I also, I'm just so proud of Bravo and how they handled it, and all the housewives that left after Kenya showed it. It was so trashy, and it was so negative and ugly, and I don't know, I think a few years ago, not all the wives would have left after that, but I'm really proud that they all left. And, Britt making that comment about the guns and whips, I don't know, I didn't feel like it was totally like, I'm gonna go kill you, Kenya. I think it was just her talking smack, and oh my gosh, Kenya just took it way too far, way too far.
Okay, now we're going to listen to Kenya's response, but to the caller that called in, it's just funny to me that it was just talking smack because it was Britt. Yes, Kenya did take it too far. I'm not even trying to go against the grain with that one, but they both took it too far, because you could talk smack without saying, I'm going to get my pow to end you, okay? And who's to say that she wasn't serious? She was pissed as hell, right? You never know how serious someone is when they talking like that. So let's not minimize it either. I didn't like that, okay? So let's go into Kenya's response, and then we'll jump off of here, guys. Let's go. So Kenya responds to the host, and because of some of the word language that's used in here, I'm not going to post the whole thing, just a little bit of it. So guys, just follow along with me. The two, as in TWO, co-hosts are extremely ignorant. Sexual assault is RAPE. Remember, that's what Phaedra accused Kandi of attempting to do to Portia. Revenge P. If someone showed Kim K sex tape to you, is that revenge P? I found that plus tons others online. She signed a release for it, so it's fair. Receipt? Warning. If you are not an attorney and familiar with the Georgia law, then shut the F up. Sick of the bias and selective outrage. These comments should not have aired. It's a podcast where it is legal. You don't want activated Kenya. I shouldn't have shown at my event, but the love of God, why would they ignore a clear pow threat? So that's a lot to unpack. And she's basically saying she signed a release form, so it's fair game. And it's not like she didn't know that it was going to happen. She clearly knew. And you guys are making it seem like she didn't know either. If she signed a release form, she knew what the hell was going to happen. Okay. And the reason why Andy is not editing out some of this stuff is because he clearly thinks the same way. See, I always say it's like resharing something. When you reshare something, it's because you're in agreement. That's where you stand. That's where you are today. That's what you believe in. That's your dialogue, right? That's why it's being shared. So that's the same thing for Andy Cohen. He doesn't get a pass in all of this. He is allowing things to play out and be played and aired because he agreed. Okay, that these are the things that we are titling the behavior as. Okay, listen, that's all I have for you guys. Meet me in the comment section, turn notification on, and subscribe to the channel. I love your checkmates, and don't you let nobody tell you nothing different. Okay, until next time, bye.